All right, here we go with Ducktales, episode 8, Hotel Strangeduck. It's the name of the hotel. All right, so Scrooge bought this old castle. He's gonna turn it into a hotel and make a bunch of money. So Miss Beakley shakes off the anthrax blanket. They find this picture. They explain it's of Dr. Ludwig von Strangeduck. It's his name. Uh, anyways, these bats fly out of the castle. All at the beginning of Scooby Doo, so you kind of know what land you're about to be in. Scrooge has Miss Beakley, that little girl Webby, and the boys be the help. They're unpaid, and then one of the boys gets decapitated by a serving tray, and he's got a little butt shot here. So Scrooge says, "One nephew dead, because he's being the count, and then he laughs at his joke, which is copyright infringement, I'm sure. So then he explains these guests are going to show up, gets a little guest book ready. And then he gets excited because the door knocks. Someone knocks on the drawbridge, and they open it. Oh, and look at this. First one in is a slut duck. She's got cleavage and lipstick on the front of her bill. That always weirds me out. Eyes. She doesn't look like she's part of this world. She draws some gibberish on a book, which is completely unintelligible, but then Scrooge reads it as the Duchess of Swansylvania. So I don't know if he actually read that or if he just guessed what words were. And she gives him his hand. He gets a little rape eyes, starts sucking on her hand. This goes on for an hour, which is weird because there's only like 5 minutes of story and an hour of this. Next guy shows up. It's a greasy Italian pig. That's not me being racist. That's what they've portrayed him as. His name is Benzino Gasolini, and they say he's a race car driver. So he's sleazy, and Scrooge lifts his hand up because he refuses to shake his hand, says he won't touch a wop. The suitcase floats in. It's a ghost. He signs it Dr. Ludwig von Strangeduck, so obviously it's the ghost. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are startled and frightened by the concept of fire, like primitive duck. Their faces here, again, not looking like the show. So Miss Beakley and Webby, they have to clean sheets. Here you can see this tiny, tiny baby duck having to do manual labor. Scrooge, as always, breaking child labor laws. They see Benzino's sheets, and they get shocked at how messy they are. They're so stiff they stand up on their own and take a ghost shape. Meanwhile, Slut Duck rubs on Scrooge's bill. Meanwhile, Duckworth is taking care of this ghost in the suit of armor. And then the ghost throws a book at Scrooge's back, snaps his spine. He falls over paralyzed. You can see him with his hand on his back, he's dying. His little spats. Ghost does white face, runs around the room. He's got 3 fingers. Here's the girl next to a duck painting. It's always weird. Runs into Benzino. He's like, "Hey, why don't you come in my room and take my scarf off?" And then the ghost attacks their dinner with an axe. He's gonna kill him. They run, so he hits the table in the middle, and that breaks apart in half like this, like when you used to have breakaway toys when you were a kid, and they always had those grooves cut in them. So then they get mad, and they're like, "We should go to bed." And Duckworth's like, "Well, I'm gonna sleep with the suit of armor." And the sled duck's like, "Well, my cleavage wants to sleep with Scrooge." And Benzino's like, "I want to sleep with everybody." So Huey, Dewey, and Louie decide they don't want to sleep with anyone. They go to this graveyard where Clint Wesley Duck is buried. And then they stand next to Michael Duck's grave. And then they go over next to Horatio Goldstein Duck's grave. Then these eyes pop up in the briar patch. Probably a ghost, but it turns out it's just a cat who still is scary. Like, even when it's revealed it's not a ghost, that cat would scare me. It looks like Pet Cemetery. And this fat ghost that looks like one of the wizards from Final Fantasy 1 pops up. So then she's looking for something. It's set up like she's looking for treasure. She opens their butterfly closet, and then one of the butterflies turns into Benzino, who got these glasses on. His future's bright. Fat ghost pops up. Scrooge finds finds a discolored door, as they always do. He opens it like it's a sheet of paper. More anthrax comes out. Scrooge discovers fire. The opening credits. Here's a shot. Then their eyeballs light up. One of the boys finds a light bulb. Scrooge starts dying of TB. You can see he's withering away. And then these bears with wings fly at him. They find a door with Ludwig, his face on it. It's the door knocker. They open it. Scrooge starts to yell at the skeleton. Skeleton starts choking him. Scrooge falls over dead. And then it cuts to commercial, so you don't know if he's actually dead or not until it comes back. Here he is. He's tied up to a chair. Guess he did all right. Meanwhile, in the girl's room, she's asleep. Something steals her jewels, wakes her up, pops up with her cleavage. We talk about how weird it'd be to see her naked. This is like a duck body with these boobs drawn on. I'm sure someone has a website dedicated to that. So, Duckworth tries to stop the ghost. He figures first he'll try Notre Dame fighting. And then he decides he's going to make a weird face at him and try and make him uncomfortable. And then he makes a large Marge face. Scrooge and the boys tear up the lab. They say, what are we looking for? Scrooge is like, we'll know when we find it. But he's not reading anything. He's just tossing papers in the air. Huey, Dewey, or Louie finds a can of spray sunshine. Duckworth can't beat up the ghost, so he decides to present and see if the ghost is interested in that. So Scrooge runs up, grabs the ghost. They start to wrestle. Show decides to defy logic, have him roll around in air. He pins him down in air. And then here's, you guys have been so patient, your Ducktales crotch shot. And then Benzino defies gravity. And then they all decide to defy gravity. So they're like, hey, we should all do it together. Turns out the ghost the whole time was this poor slave that worked for the professor. He's just trying to get some money so he could feed his family. They're mad at him. So then the slut duck says that she's related to Ludwig. Boys' hats blow off. Fat ghost shows up. Turns out it's not a ghost. Oh, it's Ludwig. There he is. He's got a duck beard. And did he tie his cape on before he put his little body mittens on? Anyway, they turn Ludwig's lab into a meth lab, and they kill the dog. You see him, he's dead there. The sister's like, how am I going to repay you? And then she pulls him in close, and she's like, you know how. I'm going to do it later. You're half my size, so that shouldn't be weird. This pink dust poofs up. Turns out that Ludwig has a book of inventions. Scrooge says we could patent these and make millions. His eyes go crazy. Start seeing dollar signs. Book moves on its own. Adults all figure it's a ghost, but the boys prove it's just a scared mouse. Dun, dun, dun. So it ends with the laugh. Oh, Merry Christmas to everybody, huh?